All right, this is a stupid game. I hate Just the Tips. This is a stupid game. Let's get it over with. Competition means nothing to me. It's garbage.
Bullshit.
It's like the Carabao Cup. Why am I even here?
All right. Do you know what? That's the start of the episode. Welcome, everybody. Dodgy Punts, Just the Tips episode. Welcome back to another episode. Oh, we're coming to the business end of the season, Jesse. We're nearly there. Round 21 has just happened. Round 22 is about to happen. This is the Dodgy Punts AFL podcast, Just the Tips episode. That's Jesse. I'm Liam. And here we are to tip again at Dodgy Punts on Instagram, main podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. That's all the business done. That's all the business out of the way. Jesse, how are you feeling about the tips this year?
No.
Jesse says no. Let's move on. Why? Why no, Jesse?
I mean, what a great year to just have Stephen Bradbury, prime moments, 40-year-old Stephen Bradbury just come and pull me back down into the grave.
Hey, listen, the season is not over yet, my friend. I'm not Stephen Bradbury yet at this time. But we got some tips to talk about. But first, before we do that, we have two competitions here on Just the Tips. We have our regular tipping competition, which is fun. You tip correctly, you get a point. If it's a draw, guess what? You get a point too. But we also have confidence points here. Jesse, would you like to explain to the people what confidence points is, please?
No, not particularly, but I will.
Do it.
So you tip 1 through 9 in terms of confidence points, 9 being your most confident, 1 being your least confident. You can only allocate your points once. I think that pretty well sums it up.
Yeah.
No need to go over who's winning or who's losing. Let's do the first game. Friday, August 9th.
Hey, sir, you stop right there. Not 3 weeks ago, you were in the lead by a handy, handsome margin. But now, I have to talk about it because I am ahead. Last week, in the tips, Jesse, you got 4. I got 7. 8, 8, 7. 8, 8, 7.
I'm targeting them.
So that puts us on the following scores. Jesse, you're on 113 tips. I am on 116. In the confidence points, you scored 24. Jesse, I scored 31, taking the total there. 189 to yourself, 202 for me. Getting a little bit heady there. I am happy. I'm actually very happy. Considering that not a few weeks ago you were so on your high horse and you were giving me all the lip because you were ahead and how shit I was at tipping, and look where we are now. Look where we are now. But unlike you, Jesse, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself because we still have 3 rounds to go. So now you may begin. First of all, as the loser of last round's tipping, would you like to tip first, or would you like to let me tip first? How would you like to play it? You're going first. Well done. Very, very, very manly of you.
I have a point to prove.
Oh, very good. Very good. All right. Well, let's start it off on Friday night.
Friday night football, the SCG, Sydney versus Collingwood, 5:40 p.m. Bounce down. I'm going first here. Sydney, the words I want to use to describe you, I can't say on this platform. Collingwood with 2 confidence points for me. Sydney are a bunch of milk-drinking cowards. Collingwood, however, they're in good form. So happy to go with them. They've hit form at the right time. I think the Sydney spiral is going to continue this Friday night. Happy to put the Pies on top. Liam.
It's hard to argue for Sydney at the moment. Unfortunately, like this is the team that was like top of the pops for so long, and across the last 6 weeks, you just look at them, you go, where's their win coming from? And what will happen is it'll come from absolutely nowhere because I've also tipped Collingwood, but only with the 1 confidence point. I'm actually intrigued to see how confidence points lie this week. It was quite a tough one for those. But Collingwood with 1, I think you said well. I mean, so much of the milk drinkers and stuff. I mean, I'm sure they love the milk. It's good. Got calcium. It's good. But it's hard to see where Sydney are getting their wins from at the moment, or where they're going to get their form from. But it could be one cold snap of the fingers and then they're back in the hunt. But Collingwood are in good spirits at the moment. So Collingwood with 1 for me, Jesse. Who is next?
Next up on Saturday morning for our Western Australian viewers, we have Brisbane versus GWS, a top 4 battle while you're still having your brunch. How good is that? Liam, you're up first here. Who are you going with for our second game of the round?
So I had a lot of trouble with my confidence points in this round. I did not know where to put anything. Like it was really tough. And so there's going to be some here that might be a bit high, some that might be a bit low. But at this point of the season, at the Gabba, you really can't tip against Brisbane. They're doing really well. And while GWS had a really important win last week, I think that Brisbane is going to be too strong for them this week. I think Brisbane are going to ride up to the top. They're going to ride up, Jesse. They're going to ride up to the top of the table after this round, I reckon. Brisbane with 7 confidence points for me. I know it's top 4, but I think on form at the moment, there's a very little chance that the Giants get the win here. If they do, well, kudos to them. But Lions with 7. Jesse, what do you got?
Now, Liam, I broadly agree. I'm going Lions with 6. I think GWS have ridden some lightning, but their form isn't particularly strong. I don't feel they've survived Melbourne. They've survived Hawthorn in the last fortnight. I'm not sure they're actually particularly going too well. They're getting wins on the board, which is important. It's critical, in fact. But Absolutely. They're not particularly excellent at the moment, sans the last quarter against Hawthorn. So I think Brisbane, 6 confidence points for me. I'm just slightly less bullish given the fact that they are a top 4 side, and there does need to be some level of respect for that. But I am hoping for the sake of Fremantle that Brisbane gives them absolute pantsing on Saturday, and they can come into our game with almost no confidence.
Very good. Very good.
It's like the name of the points.
That's right. Let's move on. Who's next?
Hello, Liam. Would you like to go to Tasmania with me? Too bad you're a West Australian. You legally have to. North Melbourne versus West Coast down at Blundstone Arena. 2 WA teams make the trip to Tasmania this year. This time around, it's the Eagles. They're playing North. I'm tipping first. North Melbourne for me here with 8 confidence points. I am pretty eager to see North here. I think they are in a really nice place in this game to just go and get the job done. They play Tassie pretty well. They looked, I think, really solid for most of that game against Richmond. And yes, West Coast got the win that they've, coveted and needed against the Gold Coast. But I think that may have been their last hurrah. Whereas North, they have a real incentive to pick up wins here. They need to start. They're further ahead than West Coast in their rebuild. They need to start getting this winning culture going. I don't think Clark is going to go down to Tassie with any other mindset, but I expect a win from these players. And I think that's what we'll get. So North with 8 from me. I think this is a really good opportunity for them to make a statement heading into 2025.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, it's pretty much a cut and paste for me. But North with 6 for me. But I think you've said it pretty much how it's got to be said. I don't think the Eagles haven't travelled very well this year across the board. Oh, pardon me. They haven't travelled very well this year. And look, it's just the Eagles, isn't it? Like they got a very tepid Gold Coast Suns team last week. They play better at home. They've got the home crowd, but North in Blundstone, chalk it up, mate. It's a certainty. North with 6.
Let's move on to Saturday afternoon football, the sole game in this time slot, a game that I will be there for. Fremantle versus Geelong at Optus Stadium. Jeez Louise, this is a hard game. Jeez Louise, I'm glad you were going first, Liam. Look, this is I think this is actually the game that's going to probably define Freo's season. I think, I think this is a game that's going to say if we're finals ready or if we've just had a really good season, maybe overperformed. But if we can't get over Geelong at home, I think I wouldn't go as far as to say it's season over. But man, that hill that we got to climb is just going to get steeper and steeper. And we famously don't play well in the last round of the year. We usually get Port Adelaide. That said, at home, we're pretty good. We've only lost once this year at home to Sydney in a game where it could have been a lot closer if we just kick straight. So our form at home is pretty good. I'm going to back the boys in. I'm only putting 3 confidence points on it, though. But I'm going to back him in. Freo to win with 3. But man, it's going to be a worry. You'll be at the game. I'll hopefully be watching it from a sports bar in Bali. So they do well. Jesse, what do you say? Jeez, this is a boring round. Fremantle with 3 for me in confidence points. I agree. I separate the emotion of Sunday. Fremantle's record at home is excellent. Geelong are in comparable form, but they've had to scrap for a couple of those wins. It was a scrappy win against North for the most part. It was very much a last gasp win against the Crows. that does worry me if this becomes a close game for Fremantle's sake. However, I think they do have the tools to win. They played Geelong pretty well. They won comfortably here last year. They went to GMHBA in 2022 and won nicely there, which is, of course, Geelong's premiership year. So the recent numbers are good. Happy to say Fremantle can get the job done here. Very hopeful, especially given we always played terribly in the retro kit. We're hopeless against Melbourne in 22. We're rubbish against Port in 23. I'm hoping that the anchor can stop weighing us down in 24.
I didn't know that was our form on the retro kits. Now I'm even more worried. I should take that down some confidence points, man. I'll knock it down to 2. I won't.
The biggest form factor, the anchor.
Oh, no. Oh, well.
On today's edition of Why Is This a Saturday Night Game, we have Essendon versus Gold Coast leading us off on Saturday Night Football from Marvel Stadium. I'm up first here, and I have left 7 confidence points aside for a very good reason. I actually almost gave this 9, such as the lack of the ability for the Gold Coast Football Club to play anywhere else but People First Stadium. The fact they get 2 weeks in a row away from home seems unfair, just purely because it gives them no mathematical chance of winning. Also, you guys are also in the bad books as cowards for costing me last week. So Essendon with 7 confidence points for me. And that's in saying that, if it was just about any other team in this competition, even potentially St Kilda, I'd be giving this 9. I still think Essendon are particularly good. So they can have 7. Yes, I know who they beat last week. Hardy, ha. But their form around that has been pretty woeful. So Essendon with 7 confidence points for me, Len.
Yeah, I've got them with 8. So Essendon with 8 because, I mean, like it's the Gold Coast Suns who are abysmal away from home. Essendon will be wanting to win this to obviously, put themselves back up in the 8. They've dropped out. They were up there for a while. They dropped out. I still think there's that little bit of desperation in them to get back there for their fans, for their people. And this is a great way to do that, getting the Gold Coast Suns away from home. If Essendon lose this game, I struggle to finish that sentence without swearing. But if they somehow lose this game, then they don't deserve to play finals. Simple as that. So if Essendon with 8, they better get the job done. If they don't, look, it'd be pretty funny, but it wouldn't be very good for Essendon fans. We want the fans to be happy, don't we, Jesse?
Not particularly.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on to the next game, shall we?
And Essendon aren't even on like the first half of the clubs I dislike list either. I just don't particularly enjoy other fans enjoying success.
Yeah, no. You famously thrive on misery and pain, so it's it's understandable. That's okay, man. I get you. I get you, Jesse. I get you.
That's also not true. That's a legal disclaimer. That's not true. Thrive is too harsh of a superlative for legal reasons. Yeah. Other Saturday night game, Melbourne versus Port Adelaide at the G. I don't think we need to spend too much time on this, Liam. You're up first.
I think we might have the same thing potentially. Port Adelaide with 9. I think based on current form, it's hard to argue against that. Melbourne aren't doing very well this year. Port, well, there's not much more to say about that. And if Port can repeat what they did against Sydney, there's realistically no reason they can't win this game by 224 points. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. It's that's not how football works, obviously. Like, obviously, this week, Port Adelaide will just eke out a 4-point win for some reason against Melbourne. But even
or
still,
lose by 4 goals randomly.
Exactly right. Who knows? It's a weird season. But based on current form, it's hard to go past Port Adelaide with all my confidence points, all 9 of them on this particular game. Jesse?
Yep, ditto. Port with 9. They're good. Melbourne aren't. Moving on to Sunday. Potentially the game in the round at the MCG. Carlton versus Hawthorn. A critical game.
I think we're going to start maybe getting some. We're going to start getting some differences now. I think, Jesse. I think we're going to start getting some differences.
Okay, the sparks are starting to fly. I
could be wrong. Go.
I've kept my 1 confidence point fairly safe throughout this round because there's a game I need to put 1 confidence point on, and it's this one.
Okay.
Hawthorn with 1.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm prepared to set aside Sunday on the basis that Carlton have been diabolically bad in the last 6 weeks. And as we said on the podcast last week, Carlton Collingwood could be season defining for the Blues. And I think it has defined their season. I think this is going to be another season of failure for the Carlton Football Club. And I expect that will be seen with a win for Hawthorn here. So Hawthorn with 1 for me, Liam. Are you disagreeing?
Listen, we've been pretty set across the board this round, and you were saying it's going to be a boring episode. So what would it be? I've got a few tips in hand. I've got a few confidence points in hand. Why don't we mix it up a little bit, Jesse? Why don't we mix it up a little bit? For some of the reasons that you said you were tipping Hawthorn is part of the reason why I'm tipping Carlton. And I'm giving Carlton, and because of how my confidence points have kind of whittled out, I'm giving them with 5 points.
Oh no, Liam.
But here's why. I think Carlton know now that their season is now on the break. I think they're going to come out this week with a bit more vigor, a bit more energy, and a bit more want to win. Is that always enough to get a team across the line? Probably not, because you're going to assume that they're going to come out with that vigor every week. But we know that teams don't. They're going to turn it up, I think, to 11 to give you an old movie reference. Do you get that one, Jesse? Okay. Basically, Jesse, they're going to take it up to 11. They're going to turn it up to one above the loudest, which is 10. Why don't you make 10 louder? Doesn't make any sense. 11? No, it's still not.
10
Okay,
Pro?
No, it's fine. We'll move on. But I think they're going to turn up to 11 this week. They're going to take it up to Hawthorn. I think we're going to actually get Carlton playing a lot more of a Hawks game this week, which is going to be interesting. I think because Hawks go fast. I think Carlton are going to turn up a little bit and go a bit faster than they have been as well. They have it in them. Carlton with 5. But again, that's a lot. It's probably too many confidence points, but that's what I've got, given what I'm going to do next.
Interesting. Game of the round, Richmond versus St Kilda at Marvel Stadium at 1:20 WA time. Liam, you're up first here. Who are you going with and why?
For the lols, I'm going with Richmond with 2. I don't know why, but sometimes, Jesse, I just get vibes. I get vibes sometimes. I'm just like, and sometimes these vibes have served me quite well this year, if I'm to be honest with you.
It would seem.
I've got St Kilda tips correct.
That's a movie reference for you.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I got it. It's fine.
Yeah. Thank you. I know a movie.
Well done. That's a good. No, we get copyrighted, Jesse. You can't do that. Not on YouTube.
Not if I do. Not if I do silent mouth percussion.
You want Disney coming after us? Absolutely not. I don't want that. All that money down the drain. Richmond with 2. I don't really have a reason, Jesse. I just feel like St Kilda are a funny team, and when St Kilda come out and win and do really well, for some reason they'll let all that out of the bag, and they'll lose. And Richmond just have been dogged this year, and they always hang around in every game pretty much. And so what? Why not? Why not just have them just win one? Go on, do it.
The worst part is I agree. And I'm still backed into a corner. Now, to be clear, I've tipped St Kilda about twice this year. So if they lose this, expect the biggest amount of fury you've ever seen from me on the main show. Actually, they are very lucky that we're not recording next week. We may have to do an emergency live broadcast if St Kilda loses game. St Kilda with 4.
Ooh.
They should.
They should.
They should.
They should.
They better. It'd be so typical if my footy tipping season comes to an end because of bloody St Kilda. Wouldn't that just be perfect?
Actually, honestly, Jesse, I think it would be fantastic.
You know what? It's already happened. It's written in the stars. Me and Dusty bowing out at the same time. One of a decorated career, the other of the Just the Tips competition. Or I can't expect this to be a particularly good game. Please, St Kilda, please win. You have my 4 confidence points. Actually, I'm going to change that to 5.
Oh.
I'm going to get harder.
5. Damn.
Because Rowan Marshall's going to kick 4. There's my prediction.
Fantastic. Put a 5 on it. Let's go to the last game of the round. Jesse, who up?
We have Adelaide versus Western Bulldogs in, and we jest about the game of the round B before. This could be a sleeper hit. Adelaide Dogs. I'm up first here. I am going the Dogs. Very wary of the Crows. I'm going them with the 4, which is what I have left. But I'm very wary of the Adelaide Football Club, who are in good form. The Dogs, though, they are 4 wins on the bounce. They've done it away from home. They've done it at home. They've shown a bit of diversity and depth to the way they're playing football at the moment. I think it's just a case of this team is flying. But Adelaide are the season tormentors, or for the most part, at the end of this season. So they could. And it'd be quite interesting if Liam does tip them, because that gives us 3 different in the last day, which is the current margin between us. So, Liam, who are you going with in the last game of the round?
Unfortunate for you, Jesse, I have also written the Western Bulldogs before.
Are you a Sydney member in disguise?
Why?
Coward.
Fair enough.
No
Western Bulldogs before. No guts, no glory, man. Like, this is the thing. Like, I've got a lead now. I've got to learn how to learn to maintain those and not just keep throwing.
Oh, you support Fremantle. You don't know how to do that. Neither do I. Clearly,
that is partly true. But sometimes I've just got to take my sensible cap and put it back on. And for this one, I like the Bulldogs. I had it written down. I can't show you, but I had it written down. Bulldogs with 4, because I think that they are going to win this game based on current form. Like I said, Adelaide could very, very easily spoil this party, and put the Western Bulldogs back down into the quagmire of the 8 fight. But I think at this stage, the Bulldogs are showing too much at the moment to give that up. So I expect the Bulldogs to win, and I've got 4 confidence points in it.
Well, there we have it, and there you have it, dear viewer. That is the Dodgy Punts AFL podcast, just the tips edition. No tips next week. We'll be having a brief mid-season holiday, but hope you enjoyed this episode. Like, share, subscribe.
Mid-season.
Tell your friends. Close enough. Tell your friends, tell your neighbours, tell the local furniture store salesman if you're buying a new bed or couch or table or dining set or whatever you buy. Outdoor furniture, it's almost summer. Make sure you let them know Dodgy Punts AFL podcast is the place to be listening. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again in a fortnight.
Bye, everybody.